Admiral Patricia Hayes stood in the war room deep beneath the mountains of Colorado and stared at the holographic display that showed Morrison's intelligence data. The message had arrived 6 hours ago, and since then, her entire world had changed. Humanity was not alone in the galaxy, and their neighbors wanted them dead. The emergency session of the Human Defense Coalition filled the chamber with the most powerful military and scientific minds on Earth. General Robert Kane sat at the long table studying tactical reports while Dr. Marcus Webb reviewed evidence that made his hands shake with anger. Commander Elena Santos stood near the tactical displays planning operations that would have been impossible to imagine yesterday. "Ladies and gentlemen," Hayes began as the room fell silent. "We are no longer expanding into empty space. We have been under observation by hostile alien civilizations for decades, and they have finally decided that humanity must be eliminated." Dr. Webb activated a series of displays that showed incidents across human space over the past 5 years. The mining accident on Titan Base that killed 300 workers, the solar flare that destroyed New Geneva Station with all hands, the plague that wiped out our agricultural colony on Kepler 186f. We thought these were natural disasters or equipment failures. The displays changed to show technical analysis of the disasters that revealed patterns no human scientist had noticed before. Every single incident shows signs of deliberate sabotage using technology far beyond our current capabilities. The aliens have been testing their weapons on us for years while we blamed ourselves for poor engineering and bad luck. General Kane stood and pointed to the tactical display that showed alien fleet positions around human space. 12 different species have been moving military assets into position for what appears to be a coordinated strike. The numbers are overwhelming. Nearly 400 combat vessels against our 37 active warships. Commander Santos stepped forward with her own presentation ready. "Sir, I have been analyzing the intelligence data from Captain Morrison's team. The alien communication network relies on quantum relay stations that coordinate their military operations. If those stations could be disabled simultaneously, their fleet would lose the ability to coordinate attacks." Hayes nodded and gestured for Santos to continue. "I am recommending immediate deployment of stealth reconnaissance teams to gather detailed intelligence on these relay stations. We need to know their defensive capabilities and operational schedules before we can plan any kind of strike." Dr. Webb activated another display that showed a map of human space with red markers indicating the locations of unexplained incidents over the past decade. "There is something else, Admiral. We have had people out there longer than anyone realized. Some of our early exploration teams and trade missions were actually intelligence operatives working under deep cover." The room erupted in surprised voices as the implications became clear. Hayes raised her hand for silence and looked directly at Webb. "Explain." Project Silent Observer was initiated 25 years ago when our deep space sensors detected artificial signals from the direction of Wolf 359. We sent teams of specially trained operatives posing as peaceful explorers and traders to gather intelligence on alien civilizations. These people have been out there for decades mapping alien military capabilities and government structures. Santos felt her pulse quicken as she realized the possibilities. "How many operatives do we have in position?" Dr. Webb pulled up a classified file that showed the locations of human agents throughout the local galactic arm. 47 deep cover operatives spread across 16 different alien civilizations. Most of them have established themselves as trusted traders or technical specialists. They have been reporting back through encrypted quantum channels for years. General Kane studied the agent positions and began to see tactical opportunities. These operatives could provide real-time intelligence on alien military preparations and potentially sabotage critical systems before any coordinated attack begins. Hayes activated the secure communication system that connected Earth Command to hidden relay stations throughout human space. "I am authorizing the activation of all Silent Observer assets. These operatives are to begin immediate intelligence gathering on alien military preparations and stand ready for sabotage operations on my direct orders." Commander Santos was already planning her own mission as she studied the quantum relay network that coordinated alien communications. "Admiral, I request permission to lead a stealth reconnaissance mission to the Ross 128 system where our intelligence indicates the primary alien fleet is staging for the attack on Earth. Hayes looked at the tactical displays that showed the massive alien fleet assembling just 24 light-years from home. Approved, Commander. Take the UES Shadow and a hand-picked crew. I want detailed intelligence on their capabilities and operational plans. More importantly, I want you to find ways to disrupt their operations without revealing our knowledge of their intentions. Dr. Webb was studying biological data from the various disasters that had struck human colonies. Admiral, there is evidence that some of these attacks were designed to test human biological responses to alien pathogens. The plague on Kepler 186f was not natural. It was a bioweapon specifically designed to target human DNA. The room fell silent. As the full horror of what the aliens had planned became clear, they were not just planning to attack human military forces. They intended to eliminate humanity as a species through coordinated biological warfare, disguised as natural outbreaks. Hayes felt anger burning in her chest as she realized that every human death over the past 5 years had been part of an alien test program. Dr. Webb, I want a full biological defense protocol implemented immediately. Every human colony and Earth itself needs to be prepared for bioweapons attacks. Santos was reviewing the intelligence data from Captain Morrison's team and found something that made her smile grimly. Admiral, the aliens have made a critical mistake in their planning. They believe humans are technologically inferior and incapable of coordinated military operations across interstellar distances. Their operational security is based on the assumption that we cannot detect or intercept their communications. General Kane joined her at the tactical display and began to understand the opportunity they had been given. Commander Santos is correct. The alien forces are positioned for maximum effect against a primitive species that would react defensively to their attacks. They are not prepared for a preemptive strike by forces they believe to be technologically inferior. Hayes looked around the room at the faces of people who had dedicated their lives to protecting humanity and saw determination replacing the initial shock of discovering they were not alone. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council has been planning our extinction for decades while believing we were too primitive to detect their intentions. That arrogance will be their downfall. She activated the main communication system that connected to every human military installation in space. This is Admiral Hayes to all commands. Humanity is under imminent threat from hostile alien forces. All deep space reconnaissance assets are to activate immediately and begin intelligence-gathering operations. All combat vessels are to prepare for coordinated military action against alien targets. The war room became a hive of activity as officers began coordinating the first interstellar military operation in human history. Commander Santos departed within hours aboard the UES Shadow to begin reconnaissance of the alien staging area, while Dr. Webb coordinated biological defense preparations across all human worlds, deep in space. Captain Morrison continued monitoring alien communications while his ship remained hidden in the darkness around Kepler 442. The messages he intercepted showed increased activity and preparation. As the Council moved closer to launching their attack, Hayes stood alone at the tactical display after the emergency session ended and studied the positions of alien forces around human space. The Council had spent decades planning humanity's destruction while underestimating the species they intended to eliminate. That mistake would cost them everything they had built over millennia of galactic dominance. Operation Broken Chain began at exactly 0400 Coordinated Universal Time, when human forces across 13 star systems struck simultaneously with the precision of a weapon designed by engineers and the fury of a species fighting for survival. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Chen detonated the charges she had planted throughout the Vega relay station and watched the crystalline structure collapse into fragments of exotic matter that scattered across space like deadly confetti. The explosion sent shockwaves through the quantum communication network that connected Council forces throughout the galaxy. As the primary relay node went dark and took with it the ability to coordinate military operations across vast interstellar distances, similar explosions occurred within seconds at relay stations in 12 other star systems, as human strike teams emerged from stealth positions they had maintained for months. The aliens who operated these facilities had never experienced a surprise. attack in their thousand-year history of galactic dominance and found themselves completely unprepared for the coordinated assault that destroyed their communication infrastructure in less than an hour. The species that made up the Council had grown complacent during centuries of technological superiority and military supremacy over younger civilizations. Connor Blake stood in the central computer facility of the Council Command Center on Zephyria and activated the quantum virus that Dr. Sarah Martinez had designed to exploit the vulnerabilities in alien computing systems. The virus spread through the network like digital wildfire, consuming data pathways and communication protocols that had remained unchanged for millennia. The relay stations died across the galaxy. Blake's virus found the gaps in their defenses and poured into every connected system, carrying with it the accumulated electronic warfare capabilities that humanity had developed during decades of studying. Captured alien technology. The virus not only disrupted Council communications, but also began extracting classified files that contained the true history of galactic civilization. Commander Elena Santos led the assault on the Council fleet in the Ross 128 system, where her months of advanced sabotage proved decisive in the opening moments of combat. Half the alien vessels experienced critical system failures as human forces decloaked around them using stealth technology that the Council had believed to be beyond human capabilities. The UES Retribution under Captain Danny Foster spearheaded the attack with weapons that sliced through Council shields like paper and left alien commanders staring in disbelief at tactical displays that showed their supposedly impenetrable defenses failing against human firepower. The breakthrough that Dr. Martinez had achieved in reverse engineering alien technology proved that humanity could not only match Council weapons, but exceed their capabilities. Captain Foster targeted the flagship of the alien fleet with concentrated fire from weapons that channeled exotic matter through magnetic containment fields to create energy beams that existed at temperatures approaching the core of a star. The alien vessel's shields collapsed after 30 seconds of sustained bombardment, and the ship itself began to break apart under the stress of energies it was never designed to withstand. Similar scenes played out across dozens of star systems, as human forces struck at Council military installations and government facilities with the coordination of a single organism and the determination of a species that refused to accept extinction. The aliens who had spent decades planning humanity's destruction found themselves facing an enemy that had been listening to their secret communications and preparing responses to threats they thought were hidden. Colonel Kevin Wright led human Marines in an assault on the Council fortress on Proxima Centauri B, where alien defenders discovered that their energy weapons were ineffective against the powered armor that protected human soldiers. The armor incorporated shield generators reverse-engineered from captured Council technology and could absorb direct hits from weapons that had previously been considered unstoppable. Wright's Marines advanced through the fortress corridors with the methodical precision of professional soldiers who had trained for this operation for years, while studying alien tactical doctrine and defensive strategies. The aliens who had viewed humans as primitive savages found themselves outfought by troops who understood their weaknesses better than they understood themselves. Captain Lisa Park's squadron eliminated the Council forward base in the Alpha Centauri system using fighter craft that combined human pilot skills with alien technology to create weapons platforms that moved through space like extensions of their pilots' minds. The aliens had never encountered adversaries who could adapt their own technology so quickly and effectively. The quantum virus that Connor Blake had planted in the Council communication network reached the central archives and began downloading thousands of years of classified intelligence data that revealed the true scope of Council activities throughout the galaxy. The files showed that humanity was not the first species targeted for elimination by the Council, and would not have been the last if their plan had succeeded. The virus extracted records of dozens of civilizations that had been destroyed by the Council when they advanced too quickly or showed too much independence in their development. Some had been eliminated through direct military action, while others had been weakened through engineered disasters and biological weapons before being absorbed into the Council's empire as subordinate members. Admiral Patricia Hayes stood in the war room beneath the Colorado Mountains and watched tactical displays that showed the progress of human forces across the galaxy. The coordinated attack was proceeding with a precision that exceeded her most optimistic projections as alien defenses collapsed under the weight of simultaneous assaults on critical infrastructure. The most shocking moment came when Council Prime Zethikri attempted to broadcast a surrender message from the command center on Zephyria, only to discover that humanity had been intercepting and recording Council communications for years. Hayes responded with a transmission that contained decades of evidence documenting the Council's surveillance of human space and their planned genocide, Council Prime Zethikri. Hayes began as her image appeared on screens throughout Council space. Humanity has been listening to your secret deliberations for years. We know about your plans to eliminate our species through coordinated attacks disguised as natural disasters. We know about the weapons testing you conducted on our colonies that killed thousands of innocent people. The transmission included recordings of council meetings where alien leaders discussed the most effective methods for eliminating humanity, while making their extinction appear to be the result of technological failures and biological catastrophes. The recording showed that the Council had spent decades planning genocide while presenting themselves to the galaxy as benevolent guardians of peace and stability. Your military forces are in retreat, and your command structure has been shattered. Hayes continued as the evidence of Council war crimes spread through communication networks that remained functional. The age of Council dominance is over. Humanity claims the right to exist in this galaxy, and will defend that right against any species that threatens our survival. The alien species that had comprised the Council found their carefully maintained image as galactic peacekeepers exposed across dozens of worlds as younger civilizations learned the truth about the organization that had dominated them for centuries. The revelation that the Council eliminated species that advanced too quickly sent shockwaves through alien governments that had believed they lived under benevolent protection. Council forces throughout the galaxy attempted to regroup and coordinate counterattacks but found themselves blind and deaf without the communication network that had coordinated their operations for millennia. Human forces continued their advance with the confidence of troops who knew that their enemy could no longer effectively respond to coordinated attacks. The Battle of Ross 128 ended with the complete destruction or surrender of Council fleet units that had been assembled to attack Earth and human colonies. Commander Santos accepted the surrender of alien commanders who had watched their technological superiority prove useless against human weapons and tactics. The quantum virus continued to spread through Council computer systems, extracting intelligence, data that would take human analysts years to fully understand, while simultaneously crippling the administrative systems that had governed the alien empire. The virus was specifically designed to be impossible to remove without destroying the infected systems entirely. As reports of victory flowed in from human forces across the galaxy, Hayes realized that humanity had achieved something unprecedented in galactic history. They had defeated the Council not through superior technology or overwhelming numbers, but through better intelligence gathering and more effective strategic planning. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Chen felt the UES Phantom drop out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Vega system, and immediately activated the ship's advanced stealth systems. Her target was the primary quantum relay station that coordinated all Council military communications in this sector of the galaxy. The station hung in space like a crystalline flower with petals made of exotic matter and energy conduits that pulsed with data streams from across the galaxy. Her strike team consisted of 12 of humanity's most experienced special operations, soldiers equipped with weapons and equipment that had been reverse-engineered from alien technology, captured during previous encounters. Each soldier wore powered armor that could operate in the vacuum of space and carried energy weapons that could penetrate the advanced shielding systems used by Council forces. "Contact in 30 minutes, Colonel," reported her pilot, Lieutenant Danny Moore, as he guided the Phantom through the asteroid field that concealed the approach to the relay station. "Sensors show minimal defensive presence. 2 patrol craft and automated defense platforms." Chen studied the tactical display that showed the layout of the alien facility. The quantum relay station was massive, with multiple habitat modules connected to the central communication array by flexible corridors that could extend for kilometers. Intelligence reports indicated a crew of approximately 50 aliens from 3 different species working together to maintain the facility 8,000 light-years away. On the alien world of Zephyria, human agent Connor Blake prepared for the most dangerous mission of his life. For 8 years he had posed as a peaceful trader, dealing in rare minerals and exotic technologies, while secretly mapping the Council's central command structure. His cover identity as an independent merchant had given him access to facilities and information that would have been impossible for any obvious military operative to obtain. Blake stood in his modest apartment overlooking the capital city of the hegemony and reviewed the plans he had memorized for infiltrating the Council Command Center. The massive complex sat at the heart of the city, like a twisted spire of living metal that reached toward the alien sky. Inside that building, the 12 species of the Council coordinated their military operations across hundreds of star systems. His mission was to plant a quantum virus in the central computer system that would activate when the relay stations were destroyed and cascade through the entire Council communication network. The virus had been designed by Dr. Sarah Martinez, working from the hidden research facility on Ceres, using principles extracted from captured alien technology. Martinez had spent months analyzing the quantum computing systems that the Council used to coordinate their vast interstellar empire. Her breakthrough came when she realized that the aliens had built their entire network around a single communication protocol that had remained unchanged for thousands of years. That stability, which gave them reliability across galactic distances, also made them vulnerable to a properly designed attack back on Ceres. Martinez monitored the quantum communication channels that connected human agents throughout the galaxy and coordinated the timing of multiple simultaneous operations. Her screens showed the positions of strike teams approaching relay stations in 13 different star systems, while deep cover agents prepared to sabotage critical infrastructure on dozens of alien worlds. The scope of the operation was staggering. Humanity was about to launch coordinated attacks across a region of space spanning thousands of light years, while maintaining the element of surprise against civilizations that had dominated the galaxy for millennia. The success of the mission depended on precise timing and the ability of human forces to strike before the Council realized what was happening. Commander Elena Santos hung in the darkness near the Ross 128 system and watched the massive alien fleet through the sensors of the UES Shadow. Over 300 vessels from 12 different species had assembled in a formation that stretched across millions of kilometers of space. The ships represented the combined military might of civilizations that had been preparing for this operation. For decades, her team had been sabotaging supply lines and weapon systems for weeks, while the aliens attributed the mysterious malfunctions to normal pre-deployment issues. Santos smiled grimly as she watched alien work crews struggling to repair systems that would fail again as soon as they left port. The sabotage had been subtle, but effective, reducing the alien fleet's combat effectiveness by an estimated 30%. Commander, reported her intelligence officer, Lieutenant Karen White. I am detecting increased communication traffic between the fleet commanders. They appear to be receiving final operational orders from the Council Command Center. Santos activated her own communication system and sent a coded message to Admiral Hayes on Earth. Package delivery confirmed. Customers are experiencing quality control issues with their merchandise. Estimate 72 hours until they attempt to return items for refund. The message would inform Hayes that the alien fleet was preparing to move toward human space within 3 days and that the sabotage operations had been successful in reducing their combat capabilities. More importantly, it would trigger the final phase of humanity's response to the Council threat. On Zephyria, Connor Blake walked through the crowded streets of the alien capital, wearing the flowing robes that marked him as an accredited trader. His credentials had been carefully maintained over years of legitimate business dealings, while he secretly gathered intelligence on the species that ruled this part of the galaxy. Today, those credentials would get him inside the most secure facility, in Council space. The command center loomed above him as he approached the main entrance where alien guards checked the identity of everyone seeking access to the facility. Blake presented his trading permit and explained that he had been contracted to deliver rare computing elements to the technical staff, who maintained the quantum communication systems. The guard scanned his identification and verified his appointment with the technical department before allowing him to enter the building. Blake walked through corridors lined with displays showing the positions of Council fleets throughout the galaxy, while trying to memorize everything he saw for future intelligence reports. Lieutenant Colonel Chen guided her strike team through the docking bay of the quantum relay station, while the alien crew remained unaware of their presence. The advanced stealth technology that concealed the human soldiers made them nearly invisible to the sensors that the aliens used for security monitoring. Her team moved through the station corridors with the precision of a surgical strike while avoiding the aliens who worked to maintain the complex quantum computing systems. Chen planted demolition charges at critical points throughout the facility, while her technical specialist accessed the main computer system to extract intelligence data. The quantum virus that Connor Blake would plant in the Council Command Center was designed to activate when the relay stations were destroyed and spread throughout their entire communication network. The virus would not only disrupt their ability to coordinate military operations, but also provide humanity with access to classified Council databases containing thousands of years of strategic intelligence. Dr. Martinez monitored the quantum channels from her facility on Ceres and coordinated the activities of human agents across the galaxy. Her screens showed the progress of strike teams approaching their targets, while deep cover operatives prepared to execute their individual missions. The moment was approaching when humanity would emerge from the shadows and strike first against an enemy that had planned their extinction for decades. The Council had waited too long, believing that humans were too primitive to detect their intentions or coordinate an effective response. That arrogance would cost them control of the galaxy they had dominated for millennia. The stars looked different when you knew someone was watching back. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Vigilant and stared into the endless black of space around Kepler 442. His ship hung invisible in the void like a ghost made of metal and dreams. 3 years they had been out here listening to secrets that were never meant for human ears. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Rodriguez sat at her station with headphones covering her ears and her fingers dancing across holographic displays. She was the best at understanding alien languages that Earth had ever produced. Her dark eyes focused on streams of data that flowed past like digital waterfalls. Each symbol and sound pattern told pieces of a story that made her stomach tight with worry. The bridge hummed quietly with the sound of air recyclers and computer systems. Chief Analyst Ryan Cooper worked at his station nearby with screens full of charts and graphs that tracked alien ship movements across dozens of star systems. His job was to find patterns in the chaos of space traffic and military deployments. What he had found over the past months made sleep almost impossible. Morrison walked over to Rodriguez and touched her shoulder gently. She pulled off her headphones and looked up at him with tired eyes that had seen too many late shifts decoding alien conversations. "What do we have today, Lisa?" She rubbed her temples and pulled up the latest intercepts on the main screen. "The Council met again yesterday, Jake. This time it was different. They weren't just talking about us anymore. They were making plans." The main display filled with alien text that shifted and changed as Rodriguez translated it into English. Morrison read the words and felt his blood turn cold. The Galactic Council had been debating what they called the human problem for over 20 years, while humanity expanded into space thinking they were alone. "They call us aggressive captain," Rodriguez continued while highlighting sections of the transmission. "Our expansion into 12 star systems in the past 50 years has them scared. They think we are dangerous because we adapt too fast and learn too quickly." Ryan Cooper turned from his station with a data pad in his hands. "It gets worse, sir. I have been tracking their fleet movements for the past 6 months. 12 different alien species have been quietly moving ships toward strategic positions around our space. They are not trading vessels or exploration ships. These are military craft designed for long-range operations." Morrison took the data pad and studied the tactical displays that Cooper had prepared. Red dots marked alien ship positions throughout the local galactic arm. The pattern was clear once. You knew what to look for. Humanity was being surrounded by forces that had been planning this operation for years. "How long do we have, Ryan?" Cooper pulled up another screen showing communication traffic patterns and fleet convergence timelines. "Based on their current movement rates and the frequency of council meetings, I estimate 3 to 4 weeks before they are in position to strike. Maybe less, if they decide to accelerate their timeline." Rodriguez activated another set of displays that showed the structure of the alien communication network. "I have been mapping their command and control systems, Jake. The Council uses quantum relay stations positioned throughout the galaxy to coordinate their various fleets. If those stations were disabled, their forces would lose the ability to work together effectively." Morrison studied the relay network diagram, and began to see possibilities that had not existed before. How many stations, Lisa? 13 primary. Nodes with dozens of secondary relays. But the primary nodes handle all the military traffic. Take those out and you blind their entire command structure. The captain walked to the center of the bridge and activated the secure communication system that connected them to Earth Command. For 3 years they had maintained radio silence to avoid detection while gathering intelligence on alien activities. Breaking that silence now would expose their position, but the information they had gathered was too important to keep hidden. Sir Cooper said quietly, "If we transmit now, they will know exactly where we are. The Council has monitoring stations throughout this region." Morrison nodded grimly. "I know, Ryan, but Earth needs to know what is coming. Admiral Hayes and the Defense Council have to start preparing our response before it is too late." He activated the transmission array and began recording a message that would change everything. "Admiral Hayes, this is Captain Morrison aboard the UES Vigilant. We have critical intelligence regarding hostile alien intentions toward Earth and all human colonies. The Galactic Council has been planning a coordinated attack designed to eliminate human civilization while making it appear as natural disasters and system failures. We have approximately 3 weeks before they are in position to strike." Morrison included all of their intelligence data in the transmission package along with Rodriguez's analysis of the alien communication network and Cooper's tactical assessments of enemy fleet positions. The message would take 18 hours to reach Earth even at faster than light transmission speeds. "Message sent," Rodriguez reported from her station. "Earth Command should receive it within the day." Cooper was already tracking new activity on his sensors. "Captain, I am detecting increased communication traffic from the direction of the Council staging areas. They may have detected our transmission." Morrison returned to his command chair and activated the ship's stealth systems to maximum power. The Vigilant disappeared even further into the background radiation of space, but they all knew that their hiding was probably over. "Lisa, I want you to keep monitoring Council communications. Any change in their timeline or operational plans, need to know immediately. Ryan, start plotting escape routes back to human space in case we need to run." Rodriguez put her headphones back on and dove into the stream of alien communications that flowed constantly through space around them. The conversation she overheard made her realize that humanity had been living in a false peace for decades, while alien powers debated their fate in secret councils on Earth 18 light-years away. Admiral Patricia Hayes would soon receive the most important message in human history, the revelation that humanity was not alone in the galaxy and that their neighbors had been planning their destruction, would trigger a response that the Council never expected. Morrison looked out at the stars again and wondered how many of those distant lights shined on worlds that harbored species who saw humanity as a threat to be eliminated. The peaceful expansion that humans thought was their right and destiny had been viewed by older civilizations as an act of aggression that required a deadly response. The bridge crew of the UES Vigilant continued their watch in the darkness of space, knowing that they had just lit a fuse that would either save their species or doom them all. The Council had waited too long to act, believing that humans were too primitive to detect their plans. That mistake would cost them everything. 3 months after Operation Broken Chain, the galaxy looked completely different to anyone who had been paying attention to the subtle currents of power and politics that flowed between the stars. Supreme Commander Patricia Hayes stood on the observation deck of Unity Station orbiting Earth and watched ships from 43 different species dock at the massive facility that had been constructed to serve as the headquarters for a new kind of galactic government. The defeat of the Council had sent shockwaves through civilizations that had lived under alien dominance for centuries, without realizing the extent to which their development had been controlled and manipulated. Species that had believed themselves to be protected by benevolent guardians discovered that they had actually been prisoners in a system designed to prevent them from advancing beyond levels that the Council considered safe. Captain Jake Morrison commanded the Deep Space Monitoring Network that ensured no hostile force could again threaten human space without detection. His experience aboard the UES Vigilant had become the template for humanity's early warning system, as fleets of reconnaissance vessels maintained watch over the approaches to human space from hidden positions throughout the local galactic arm. The network that Morrison had designed used quantum communication systems, reverse-engineered from captured Council technology, to provide real-time intelligence on activities throughout a region of space spanning thousands of light-years. Never again would humanity face the threat of surprise attack by enemies who assumed they were too primitive to detect advanced surveillance operations. Dr. Sarah Martinez led the Xenotechnology Institute from her expanded research facility on Ceres, where teams of human and alien scientists worked together to develop new technologies based on the scientific knowledge that had been extracted from Council databases. The quantum virus that Blake had planted in their communication network continued to provide intelligence data that revealed technological secrets accumulated over millennia. The breakthrough discoveries flowing from the Institute included medical technologies that could extend human lifespan by centuries, and manufacturing techniques that could produce exotic materials previously available only to the most advanced alien civilizations. Martinez ensured that beneficial technologies were shared with allied species, while defensive capabilities remained under human control. Connor Blake emerged from 8 years of deep cover to become humanity's first ambassador to the reformed Galactic Assembly that had replaced the secretive Council with an organization based on transparency and equality between member species. His detailed knowledge of alien politics and cultural traditions made him uniquely qualified to navigate the complex negotiations required to establish a new galactic order. The former Council species faced different consequences based on their level of involvement in the planned genocide against humanity. The peaceful Ceridians who had voted against the attack found themselves welcomed as partners in the new system, while species that had actively planned human extinction faced economic sanctions and military oversight until they could demonstrate genuine commitment to peaceful coexistence. The hegemony that had dominated the Council for over 2,000 years discovered that their technological superiority meant nothing when their enemies understood their weaknesses better than they understood themselves. Zethkri and the other Council Prime leaders were tried for war crimes by a tribunal that included representatives from every species they had suppressed or eliminated over the centuries. The trials revealed the true scope of Council activities, as evidence extracted from their databases documented the systematic elimination of dozens of civilizations that had advanced too quickly or shown too much independence in their development. Some species had been destroyed through direct military action, while others had been weakened through engineered disasters before being absorbed into the Council's empire. Admiral Hayes, now Supreme Commander of Human Space Forces, established humanity's new policy of transparent diplomacy, backed by demonstrated military strength. Unlike the Council's secretive manipulation, humans openly shared their strategic intentions and defensive capabilities with potential allies, while making it clear that threats against human civilization would be met with overwhelming force. The policy proved effective in attracting new allies as species throughout the galaxy sought protection from the chaos that had followed the Council's collapse. Regional conflicts that had been suppressed by Council authority flared into open warfare as old grievances and territorial disputes erupted without the threat of alien intervention to maintain peace. Human military forces found themselves serving as peacekeepers in conflicts that had nothing to do with Earth or human colonies, but everything to do with establishing stability in a galaxy that had lost the only government it had known for centuries. The role required careful balance between preventing genocidal conflicts and avoiding the imperial domination that had characterized Council Rule Commander Elena Santos, led joint human-alien patrols along the galactic rim where new threats emerged, as species previously unknown to the Council began expanding into the power vacuum left by the collapse of the alien empire. Her ships used advanced sensors to monitor the boundaries of known space, while maintaining diplomatic contact with civilizations that had remained hidden during centuries of Council dominance. The patrol missions revealed that the galaxy contained far more intelligent species than anyone had realized as dozens of civilizations emerged from isolation to participate in the new galactic community. Many had deliberately concealed their existence from the Council after observing what happened to species that attracted unwanted attention from the alien authorities. Dr. Marcus Webb coordinated biological defense protocols that protected human colonies from the ongoing threat of bioweapons, as forensic analysis of past attacks revealed the full extent of Council testing programs. The weapons had been specifically designed to target human DNA and would have been deployed during the planned genocide if Operation Broken Chain had not prevented the attack. The defense protocols included medical screening procedures that could detect alien pathogens before they spread through human populations and treatment facilities equipped to handle biological attacks using technologies that had been classified as impossible by human scientists just months earlier. Webb's teams also developed countermeasures that could neutralize bioweapons through targeted genetic modifications. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Chen established the Special Operations Command that trained human soldiers to use captured alien technology, while maintaining operational security against potential enemies who might attempt to infiltrate or sabotage human military capabilities. Her experience with stealth operations provided the foundation for a new kind of warfare that combined human tactical flexibility with alien technological capabilities. The training programs that Chen developed produced soldiers who could operate effectively in any environment from the vacuum of space to the crushing gravity of high-mass worlds, while using equipment that required understanding of physics principles that had been theoretical concepts in human science just decades. Earlier, Captain Morrison's monitoring network detected the first signs of potential new threats when sensors positioned at the edge of the galaxy began receiving artificial signals from beyond the galactic rim. The signals suggested the existence of civilizations that had remained completely unknown during centuries of Council rule and might possess technologies that exceeded even alien capabilities. The discovery raised new questions about humanity's role in the galaxy as it became clear that the Council had been as ignorant of conditions beyond their territory as humans had been ignorant of the Council's existence. The possibility that more advanced civilizations existed in regions of space that no known species had explored suggested that the recent conflicts might be only the beginning of humanity's challenges. Supreme Commander Hayes stood before the assembled delegates of the Reformed Galactic Assembly and delivered the address that would define humanity's commitment to preventing the return of secretive authoritarian control over galactic civilization. Her words were broadcast throughout human space and transmitted to allied species across hundreds of star systems. The Council waited too long because they believed that their technological superiority made them invulnerable to challenge by younger species. Hayes declared as representatives from dozens of worlds listened to humanity's vision for the future. They underestimated our ability to listen and learn from their own communications while preparing responses to threats they thought were hidden. She gestured toward the tactical displays that showed the current disposition of human and allied forces throughout the galaxy. Humanity will ensure that no species ever again faces the threat of extinction, while councils of shadows debate their fate in secret meetings. We have learned that peace requires strength and that freedom demands constant vigilance against those who would dominate others through deception and manipulation. The ceremony concluded with the signing of the Galactic Mutual Defense Treaty that committed member species to mutual protection against external threats while prohibiting the kind of secretive manipulation that had characterized Council rule for millennia.